All right, so we will now continue with the topic of compound interest, which is a little bit delicate as opposed to simple interest. All right, we have a few questions. Let's get started. So here we have Martin invested $5,000 at a rate of 7.5% compounded annually. How much will it be in 6 years? So for the compound interest, the formula is the accumulated value is equal to principal multiplied by 1 plus interest rate over n. This n is so important, but we'll discuss it later. Raised to t times n. Alright, so let's talk about this formula. The a is of course the accumulated value, what the 5,000 will be at the end of 6 years at 7.5%. That's what the a is. The p is the principal, just like before, which is 5,000. 1 plus interest rate over n. Interest rate is 7.5 as you know it. And n is, we'll get to n soon. You'll understand what n is soon. But for now, because the interest rate 7.5 is compounded annually, n will be equal to 1. Because the interest rate 7.5 is compounded annually, n will be equal to 1. But t will be 6. T will be 6. And I don't want you to get flustered with not knowing what n is, because you will understand what n is clearly in the next couple of examples. All right, so let us now proceed with plugging in our values. So p would be 5,000, and 1 plus 0.075 raised to the power of 6. And recall, n is 1. N is 1 because the interest rate is compounded annually. When the compounding changes, such as compounded monthly, compounded semi-annually, compounded quarterly, when those change, our n will change. But we'll get there. Now to plug this in our calculator. Our best friend. We never do consumer arithmetic without our best friend. We apply the concept of BODMAS, which you should have learned in the first part of the course, number theory and computation. So assuming that you've already went through that, or you've already gone through that, let us just work with the information. So 1 plus 0.075 is equal. So we work out the bracket first. Then we say the answer raised to. You see this thing here? This up arrow here means raised to. You can raise a number to anything with this number, with this button here. So we press this button like this, boom. Raised to the power of 6. Then we multiply all of that by 5,000. There we go. 7716.51. We just round to 2 decimal places. That's fine. All right. And this is how we accumulate using compound interest or compounding interest. All right. This is a nice clean way. We don't have to go through the principles and the basics of compound interest. This is how we want it, and this is exactly what we did. All right. So now let's move on to another example. Anne borrowed $200 to finance a bike at a rate of 8.25% compounded annually for 24 months. How much was repaid? That's one question. What was the interest? All right. So she borrowed 200 principal, interest rate 8.25, compounded annually. Compounded annually means n is 1, and you will see why in the next couple of examples. Compounded annually for 24 months. Because our interest rate is compounded annually, we must then convert our time period, our time, from months to years. So 24 months is equal to 24 months divided by 12 is equal to 2 years. That's how we convert from months to years. We divide by 12. So our time period is in years, interest rate is great, principal is good, compounded annually, so n is 1. Now we can proceed with actually finding what a is. So a will be equal to, use the same formula here, 500, no, very sorry, 200 multiplied by 1 plus 0.0825 raised to the power of 2. What's the result? It's 1 plus 0.0825 equal raised to the power of 2 times 200, which is 234.36. All right, so I'm just, all right, so that's the answer. Now, what's the interest? So Anne's going to repay this. When doing simple interest, we noted that there was a formula to calculate the interest by itself. However, with compound interest, there's not such an easy formula to just calculate the interest. So we have to just do it the old-fashioned way, by subtracting the principal from the accumulated amount. To find the interest, we subtract the principal, which is the 200, from the accumulated amount, which is this. And we get 234.36 minus 200 equal 34.36. 34.36. So this is our interest. All right. There's a lot more examples ahead, so please stay tuned.